Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club with 4 race starts. We're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders, in green our Category 2, in blue Category 3 and Category 4 in red. Look at the damage it's done. 3 leaders, a massive expansion. They have been put to the sword.
Well, they have got to settle down in a minute because that has got to be the fastest Category 4 start.
They are motoring their way through Montoya at the moment. Tucks in nicely in here, but look at this. It's effectively, it looks like a chain gang. There's basically 2-3 riders wide at the most, one long line.
They've got 30 seconds on the chasing group, and the chasing group's being led by Biarhead at the moment and Carsten Mayer. They are absolutely motoring these 4.
Nuts and Vic and Mr. X100. This surely is a move where you have to push. Come on, guys. This is, prime opportunity. 3 teammates down the road. It's a much bigger group in Category 3, and that really is the biggest leading group now.
Yeah, it is.
In terms of not being brought back, a real breakaway, a real fractious race.
Look at that as the leaders in the Category 3 race catch the leaders in the Category 4 race. They are 1.7 kilometres from the finish.
It's not over yet. It's on his way into the line now. It is going to be Valencia who's leading. Guarin is trying to close him down, but it's going to be Esteban Valencia who takes the race win here. Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier race number 2, 10th of September, and we've just been putting words to the action of a cracking women's race with a really exciting finish. When I say we, it's me, Matt Payne. I'm here in the studio with
Emma Martin.
Emma, it's great to be on the race club. It's great to be putting words to the action. We've been busy though, because carefully and weirdly, it ties in very nicely with our first trip to Belgium. You and I were very busy yesterday on the Flanders Classic, helping out with our local grassroots sports event here by the studios.
In the North Charente.
In the north of Charente, so the Charente Flanders Classic, which features lots of Meurs and Bergs out around the local area. This is going to be our first trip to Belgium, surrounded by Meurs and Bergs. As we go to the new world with the new routes.
We are indeed. So we are in Belgium for the very first time on the Sunday Race Club. The men have 45 kilometres of racing, 492 metres, and take a look at that. So 2 by 300 metre sprints today, but it's the climbs that we are interested in. 5 climbs are on segments today. There are other climbs that are not segments, but they are fantastic. We are going up the Valkenberg. We are going up the Paterberg. We are going up the Quermont. It is going to be superb. And this, Matt, is going to really mix up our racing, because I think this is going to suit very different riders to that which we have seen this month in Wollongong or last month on the Jebel Hafit, etc., etc.
I love this route already. I absolutely love this route. This is my kind of route. Short, sprinty climbs, big, nasty little kickers that are going to break the groups apart. I think all of our riders are going to find this very different indeed. I agree with you. This is going to be an absolute cracker. Let's get down to our riders. You can see we've got our 4 sets of riders ready to go. Our Category 4 riders going. Massive race field here.
Oh, it's huge. Absolutely huge. 51 riders on the start sheets today. Montoya is here. Velez is here. Kaluma, Zanaska, Finati, Dadson, who did really well in sprints in the championships. McMurtry is here. Allport. This is going to be phenomenal.
It's going to be phenomenal. And these riders are going to find this very different because this is repeated kicks and climbs. Our Category 4 riders will be the very first riders to get out on to course and head out to take on Belgium.
Well, Yates is down in the start pen with a plethora of red jerseys. The clock is ticking down, and away go Category 4 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Cup, the first race away in Belgium. And this is going to be a great one. All I can say is there are no cobbles, at least in esports.
I'm not sure technically that's correct.
Well, you know what I mean.
It's
not quite. You know, the gradient will be there today. The kickers will be there today. It is replicable of Belgium. You're just missing the dust and the cobbles.
You're missing the dust, the dirt, and guess what? You're not missing the fast start. So characteristic, almost a Kamesh-style start out from the kick here. Remember, we've got the first of our segments. That's the Ghent City Sprint coming up at 2K. Nunez going off like an absolute rocket at the moment here in Belgium, going through. Now, as you can see, if you've not been and ridden on the world here on MyWhoosh, please do. It is so realistic. So much this scenery replicates so accurately the scenery that you can ride through in Belgium. You go down to the Ardennes, you ride through the historic forest of the Ardennes, you ride through history, you ride through those continental villages. It is so replicable. Add into that the fantastic graphics that you get on MyWhoosh. It is absolutely great to go down and ride, and so many tracks and trails. I mean, it is, I have to say, somewhere that I absolutely love visiting, whether that's for cyclocross, for gravel, or for road, and now for esports.
Well, I'll tell you something, this fast start here by Arvin Nunez has absolutely split that Category 4 race field apart. Bottom left-hand side of your screen is showing at least 4 groups on the road at the moment. So Nunez putting in that fast start. Lloyd, Zanaska, Yates, Cronje, Villada all up there. Back is there as well, so is Carvajal. So this is, look at the size of that group, absolutely phenomenal racing ahead.
And it really does say, you can see, look at the left-hand side of your screen, you can see the sat-nav view, you can see the radar showing the groups on the road. There are groups spread out. Being in this start is key, getting a good start is key, particularly on this course. Now, it's a flat first 6K.
It is.
That means you've got to be able to sit in the draft, a bit like, let's say, we've all seen those classic Belgian races where the wind blows, where it echelons out, where the riders don't get in the right place at the right time. They're caught out by a sneaky attack. It's exactly what we've got on our start here. Really makes a difference. We're heading in, though, towards our very first sprint segment. Remember, the segments on the sprints and on the climbs today are not for prizes. They are for information. They are a snapshot, so don't be surprised if the riders don't particularly sprint for a sprint or ascend like an angel on the climb for the segments. It's all about that overall race strategy, and it gives us a window in. So into the Ghent City Sprint, and as you can see, Acevedo coming across here to Nunez, but as he comes across, I think he's bringing the whole of the group up to Nunez. There is a little bit of a gap behind him as they go underneath those red bricks, so characteristic of the return into Ghent, just making the win past the UCI banners there in underneath the cathedrals and the churches here, and the spires so reminiscent of Ghent City.
That Gothic architecture, absolutely fantastic, and comes across so well on the screen, doesn't it?
It does, and if it's not coming across quite as well as you think it should, go to Twitch TV, uncompressed version on there. Now, as the Category 4 work their way through Ghent City, we are going to go across to Category 3, our next race start. 5 minutes between Categories 4 and 3. 3, the first step up the ladder, and we have the Colombian Andean team in here. Arroyo, Castro, and Orrego, the 3 riders of that team, joined by a real mix of riders, including Tom Gates, who's been organising rides on MyWhoosh.
Yeah, he has indeed. Neville Ross is also in here. Warren rode well last week. Exley, De Manua, Noguera, Dromard, Pulgarin, Pledger. Really looking forward to this. Let's not forget, Alex Pledger was great on the sprints on the championships. this is going to suit a different type of rider.
Yeah, Xavier Maillard also on the championships. Yeah. He rode strongly on those strong, quick kicks, those attacks. Really aggressive ride. It could be his day today. So here we go. Qualifier race number 2 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Category 3 about to set off on to the Flemish Ardennes. Away they go. Time to see who will be the King of Flanders. Who's going to be the lion? Who's going to be its prey? Time to find out on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
Well, the pack swing round at start pen and onto the course proper. Miller in the middle of the group as we just jump in with Mornella. This pack stretching, and we've got a rider pushing at the front at the moment, very much like we saw in that Category 4 race, really trying to ensure a fast start to this race. Now, these first 6 kilometres, absolutely pan flat. When this pack gets rolling, it is going to be at a high speed, and it's not going to take a lot for it to stay there.
And this pack is slightly smaller on the start sheets than the Category 4.
It is.
So in theory, it would be smaller. Not necessarily the case. It does depend on who actually takes the start and gets out from that start safely. It looks like everybody away cleanly. However, it's going to be very interesting. This looks to me to be, we're doing 38, 40k an hour, but we've not got that one hair off down the road, that one carrot for everybody to chase.
No, not at all. This is a pack that is wide across the road and rolling through at a strong and steady pace. This strong and steady pace is maintaining a high kilometres per hour, but we have just seen one rider just get distance a little bit off the back of the group. But David Winfield at the moment, right in the middle of this now. Father to one of our riders coming up in one of the other categories.
Yeah, David Winfield and Cam Winfield, both riding on MyWhoosh, both riding very,
Father
very
and
strong.
son.
Yeah, I bet that's a very interesting ride. Guys, if you're listening, I know the guys watch the show. If you watch, guys, when you finish racing, do let us know who takes the sprints and who also drinks the most coffee at the cafe.
Well,
they're the important things when you're a cyclist. Who's on Fits and Mayonnaise and who's on waffles when you go to the cafe?
Well, David Winfield getting in touch last week, not about himself or Cameron Winfield, but about one of the female riders that he coaches who joined Sunday Race Club last week for the first time. She'd been waiting until she reached the minimum age, and Sunday Race Club last week was her first race on the platform. Brilliant. So David, not just racing himself, his athletes that he coaches joining the Sunday Race Club as well.
Well, if he's like any coach I know, he'll be the first to the coffee and the first on the waffles and the Fritz and mayonnaise, to be brutally honest.
Well, it's not damaging his performance, let me just say that.
So here we go, back across Category 4. Category 4 well underway, and at the moment, Marcus Brito with a lead of a few seconds, a handful of seconds clear of that big chasing bunch.
This is an interesting tactic, Matt, because he has attacked just before the first climb segment. So he's still got a kilometre to go until he goes into the base of the first climb, and he's putting an attack in here. Now, this is an interesting tactic.
It is, and the Côte is our longest climb in terms of distance, isn't it, today? Longest of the climbs. And that's in part because it's not straight up. You've got an ascent, you've got a drop, and then a second part to the climb.
So we have 2 Category 4 climbs, 2 categorised climbs today, both Category 4. And this first climb is indeed one of those. 3.9 kilometres in length, an average gradient of 2.5%. But it is not just a climb. It's a climb, a descent, a valley, and then a second climb. So it will be exceptionally steep in places.
Okay, we'll see how our Category 4 get on the Côte and whether we see Britta off the front. Meanwhile, Ola Warren on the attack in Category 3. As he goes through, he's going to be going through, just taking that sprint, and in doing so, and taking away the green skin suit of our sprint leader in Category 3. He's also strung that group out, but the group behind quickly pulling him back as he uses off the pedals, he's off the power, and a counter-attack straight over the top there. And that was a big push through. Oscar Paul Garin put a kick over the top as it came in. Nobody went with him. I've just seen him back right off to 0.00, whatever it was. That was really interesting, wasn't it?
I think these riders are going to wait, and they are going to see and assume that the pack will start to split and get smaller and smaller after each attack on each of these climbs, and they're going to wait for that.
So the Côte, the first of our climbs, It is the climber for Marcos Brita and Osman Vaz. The two Brazilians are working well together here. This is about making sure they get that gap opened up as they go in. So they're going to hit 6K at the base of the climb. And you can see that profile on the right-hand side. That's the first part of the climb coming up, top right-hand side. They go over the river and past Waterfall. Then they're going to be taking the ascent in. You can see the gradient just starting to tick up slightly on the run in here, just over 1%, going up over 2, and it's going to continue to increase as we go up the profile here of the Cortiqueira. A really interesting climb. Now, quick reminder, there are no prizes for the riders in the mountains competition or in the sprints competition at the moment. That is for bragging rights when you go down out with the club on social media and so on, and that is one of the reasons why you want to get a screenshot, get a picture of that of you in that skin suit. Now, what is up for grabs in terms of prizes? Well, it is substantial prize money. We kick off with 2,160 AED in qualifying races for our individuals for first, 2,160, running to 432 AED. That, of course, is applicable to all of our qualifier races. When we hit the team's classification, as you can see in the center of your screen, there is then the team prize. Now it's 3 riders count. As we move off our base category, which is category 4, we see an increase in terms of speed, using power, and that means we've also seen a relative increase in the prize money as well. So 3,600 AED for the win individually, 720 AED for 5th place. When you move up from there to category 2, category 2 is 6,000 for the win, 1,200 for 5th place, and 2nd, 3rd, and 4th spread in between, 30,000 at the monthly finals for the team competition. And of course, category 1 is right up at the top of the tree because they have 10,000 AED, which corresponds to 50,000 AED for the team competition at the end of the month. And as is traditional, or it's becoming very fast becoming traditional, we have a multitude of riders from across the world, and that means that we're trying to give you a mix of the currencies that you might be able to get an understanding of what that 10,000 AED is. Emma, what have you got?
Well, we're in Belgium today, so I've gone for euros.
Ooh, obvious but blindingly brilliant.
10,000 AED, 2,541 euro as of the exchange rate I've got on Google at the moment. And that is the prize that the first prize winner will take away in category 1 today.
Don't think we need to say anymore. Why would you do it in anything else?
2,541 euro. Come to Belgium, prize money in euro. Well, that's not always true.
No, it's not. Definitely not.
Absolutely not always true.
It can be Fritz and mayonnaise. Right, so here we go. We're on the climb. Make sure you're in it to win it. Make sure you join us on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club and download the links. Jump on board. You could be racing against John Back, who's on the front here.
16% under the wheels at the moment as Back swings round that corner. He's leading the race out for this category 4 group, and it is one long chain of red jerseys on the bottom of the screen. And take a look at that shot behind him.
Indeed, I think the one thing that's not replicated on MyWhoosh is the amount of debris and dirt. It's an impeccably clean world. And when you ride these climbs, if you go now to do the outside and you go right on here, generally the gutter at the side and the pavement edges are not that easy to go on. They are generally full of debris and detritus that makes life difficult. Fortunately, we have a spick and span clean world. That is one of the things, isn't it? Whether you find on esports.
Yeah, the road sweepers at MyWhoosh are fantastic.
They are amazing, aren't they? We have world-class road sweepers on there. Now, category 4 on the Cortiqueira climb. Category 3 heading towards the Cortiqueira climb. Category 2 about to set off. They have a 10-minute gap between us, categories 3 and 2, which means that category 2 have their work cut out to chase. But we've got a real big mix of teams here. because we have the Hitmen, including a certain Mr. Philip Graves. We have the UAE Falcons, the Cycling Patriots, and we have one of the members actually of the Wahoo Lacole team joining us. That's one of our new riders, Chris Dawson,
It is indeed.
as well, and quite a few new riders.
Well, so there are quite a few new riders, and I think the Hitmen are going to have their work cut out for them today. So Graves joins the Hitmen this month. Biarhead, Spratt and Yeast. But Kellison, Gates and Daunt join us. New riders, new racers today. Really looking forward to the mixing up with Gonzalez, Angarita, and of course the Cayen brothers, who sprints really well. So away go Category 2 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We're in Belgium for the first time for this men's race. The climbs of the Tour of Flanders are in front of this race field today, and we are going to see how they fare. So Coinstonin coming into this category as well as Graves this month. We've got new riders in here too. Jeppe Anderson, Brian Kellison, Mark Gakes, Ruben Daunt joining us here. Chris Dawson joining us too. All strong riders, and I think they are really going to be in the mix in this Category 2 race. Now, Burke Cayen rode superbly in the sprints in the MyWhoosh Championships earlier on this year. Is this the type of course that could possibly suit him?
Yep.
Well,
100%. I'm going to go with you. I think that Emma is an amazing, it's a brilliant course.
But Simmons and Graves also rode really well in the sprints and the championships too.
I'm going to be really interested to see. I mean, for me, it suits the Hitmen's tactics. That sort of wallop it out, go out there, push, give it a kick. Bert Cayen, who we're in with now, he had that sprint kick rest.
I agree.
Rest, and this will suit him. But it's not just a 300-meter sprint. I mean, the first climb we hit is the Corsica.
Exactly.
You've got 3.5, well, nearly 4K. When you get towards the end, though, things like the Patenberg climb characterizes 400 meters of climbing. I think 360, 400 meters of the climb.
So steep.
It's really steep. It's great for a sprint, but it doesn't finish there because actually the run into the actual finish goes uphill after that as well.
It does indeed.
It really, for me, you've got to keep the increase going on and keep that power down. That's really important. And I think for me, I'm not sure a pure sprinter is going to be perfect for this. I mean, it could suit. For me, it's a bit more like a mountain biker. So
well, we've got some of those, you know.
That might be a better analogy because quite often in mountain biking, you'll have a minute and a half effort, 2 minute, 5 minute. You don't often in mountain biking get a 15-minute ascent and a 15-minute descent.
Or a cross rider.
Yeah, or a cyclocross rider. Yeah, cyclocross efforts, I think they were a little bit shorter maybe than this. So it'd be really interesting. Oh, speaking of mountain bikers.
Talking about mountain bikers, Cam Winfield is the rider, giving it on the front at the moment. Winfield has obviously seen exactly in this course profile what Matt is talking about, and he's thinking that he is up for a good ride today. Now, Winfield, let's remember the young rider took the white jersey in the MyWhoosh Championships, but he also won the final sprint on the last stage by literally a tyre width. So a brave rider who is not afraid of giving it a go and is really strong on a mountain bike. Now, Matt is pegging the mountain bikers today. Let's see if Winfield is there towards the end. He's now changing his mind.
Not mountain bike. No. This is ruler territory.
Well, let's take a look.
Yeah, I think this is going
to suit a lot of these riders in this Category 2 race. Winfield is going to be strong. Coincident, Graves. I would also say that Spratt is going to be strong today in this race. I would say Simeons is going to be strong as well. But, you know, Quadrelli as well. You know, Filippo Quadrelli also was good.
Yeah, I think that. It's so hard to call, and Category 2 really tough stuff. I mean, for me, this is, I feel for the riders in this category. This is probably my spiritual home in here, and this is a course that I would absolutely love to ride. It makes me want to jump out of the commentary box.
Well, if anybody would like to come and commentate with me so Matt can ride and race in Belgium.
No, don't do it, please. I don't want to embarrass myself. My goodness me.
Well,
the older I get, the faster I was.
Who's not going to embarrass themselves, and that is Category 1. They are down in the start pens and finishing their warm-up, about ready to go.
So our teams in category 1, well, we have the UAE clan team once again looking to dominate. The Belgian waffles, well, come on, guys, today is the day. Show us that you have had the syrup on the top. You've got the sugar added to your waffles. Will it be the Italian gelato squad? Well, we will see. Great to see our teams in here ready and getting that practice in. But we've got a lot of strong riders. Mirza Al Hamadi, Reno, Al Thib, Van Elst.
Harburg, Bjorkland, Von Haren, Vujasin, Cutler, Walter, Thiem. You know, Ross Fawcett is in here. He took the sprint jersey in category 1 in the championships, and we know is on really good form at the moment.
So here we go. It is the final group. It's category 1, ready to set off and hit the roads of Belgium. It's go time. The Mers await, the Bergs await. We're in Belgium for the very first time on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We've got category 1, our final category, underway. The hounds are let loose and are going to be chasing across the Ardennes, looking for the riders in front and going to be looking to take away the prize money at the end of qualifier number 2.
Well, it goes like this. It goes fast and furious from the start pen. Within 300 metres, they're over 40 kph and they are stretched back down the road. Look at the size of this pack.
It is an absolutely blistering quick start. It is a fast pack. Biggest race field in terms of start list, isn't it? I think 53 riders, so just fractionally bigger than category 4, but really good to see. I mean, we've got big numbers now across the board, and with the new rule set, the new verification, we know real people riding in real environments, out there racing and jumping on the race club. So good to see the riders do that. Now, we are going to keep an eye on all of our riders as they go around across all of the groups. A little bit tricky. If you have watched previously to the last couple of weeks, maybe you rejoin us after a little bit of a gap, has been a little bit of a change. That little bit of a change is that the category 1 and 2 riders are basically in one world. In a parallel world, categories 3 and 4. So previously, all 4 categories were in the same world, and they were able to catch each other. So if you were category 1 and set off at the back, in theory, if you were fast enough, you could catch every single rider in the race. Now, categories 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are in parallel worlds, identical parallel worlds, but it does mean that if you are a category 1 and 2 rider, you cannot arrive in, yeah, it has. You cannot catch categories 3 or 4. Category 3 can catch 4, and they can draft each other, the same for 1 and 2. Hopefully that just explains it for anybody who has rejoined us after a little bit of a gap. Now, category 3 on the court gear, and currently at the moment at 9.3 kilometers, which means that they're onto the second part of that climb. That race exploding, as is the category 1 race with David Talbot currently kicking on at the front. He's put down 7 watts per kilo to get clear, just going underneath the big fallen tree across the course here. So heading through Christian Montoya, trying to chase down Talbot, got onto his wheels here. Interested to see who is behind, which names appear. Vujasin. Oh, come on, that's going to be a man who's going to want it today.
I tell you, there's going to be some real racing going on here and some real sorting out of selections and different names I think we're going to see up the front today. David Talbot being one of those, because this could really be a course that suits him. But Zanaska as well, and Vujasin, it's got to be their type of course, you know, because that absolute top end power. I mean, Michael Kaminsky, let's not discount him either.
No, not at all. I think he's got that snap, that kick.
He really has.
Yep.
Now, if we talk about the UAE clan team for a moment, now we know the UAE clan team are phenomenal riders and phenomenal climbers. Pablo Popovic, for me, has probably got to be their best chance today.
Yep. Don't discount Hassan Sultan. I mean, he's gone through there very fast. He has shown us before when he's been racing that he has got a great kick on him, and that can be used to his advantage. But look at this, Montoya, straight over the top, 9.4. They know that they have a little bit of room here to really make things spicy, to test the riders. Knudsen here, not letting everything go. And I think there's going to be a nervousness in that bunch. It's coming through.
It's an interesting tactic. It's a really interesting tactic. Try and break the group before they get to the climbs.
And in part because you don't know how it's going to ride. You don't know how everybody's going to respond. Look at this. We're getting a breakaway. We're getting gaps. We're getting riders chasing. Let's take a snapshot of that. Now, really interesting. We saw Hassan Sultan rocket through the sprint. He has come through there 23.623 in second place, the fastest Category 1 rider by some margin. We know that because we've got Sprat, Gonsolin, Espina, Primera. We've got Montoya, Oya, and Roncalli. And it carries on all Category 2. In fact, after we see a Sultan go through, it's a long, long way down for Category 1.
Shall I tell you where it is?
Let me guess, 20th.
42nd.
Whoa! That shows you just how much off the pace they were.
40 riders in that leading group, in that Category 2 pack, went through that sprint together.
Very, very interesting. And you see that big pack on the right-hand side of your screen. Meanwhile, left-hand side, Category 1 still continuing to push on here. Now they're through that sprint. We are seeing moves. They are. And for me, it feels like the start of a new day at school where everybody's got nerves. Everybody's not sure what's happening. Even if you've been there before, like moving from, in the UK, it would be from standard school to sixth form or moving up into college. You might have even been on the campus before. But it's new. It's all happening. And there's a nervousness, and I think that translates into the style of racing. These riders haven't raced this.
These riders, week in, week out, race each other. Historically, there have been big climbs. You know, the world of Arabia, we see huge climbs like the Hebel Hafid, the Jebel Yais. But even in Wollongong City, that is a big climb. Here, they're so much shorter. And this is going to be so different. Now, they know each other's strengths. They've raced with each other. They know who can tap out a strong pace. They know who can kick. But it's a different course, a different style of racing. They are going to be so hyped up watching each other and wondering who's going to do this, is so-and-so going to do that. This is like a blank sheet of paper to these Category 1 riders. It's a blank sheet of paper for the Sunday Race Club. But let's not forget, some of these riders have raced each other elsewhere in real life, etc. They know their strengths. I bet they're thinking, I think this could be so-and-so's race. I'm really going to have to watch out for it.
Yeah, and I think for me, they have to not only watch out for it, but they really have to. Even if you've ridden this, you know, the riders at the moment in Ghent are going around very familiar Ghent territory here, around on the canal side. Even if you've ridden this, outside, if you've ridden it on the platform, it's still different racing it.
Well, a number of riders will have raced this in real life, Matt.
Yep.
You know, it's not just those riders racing the Tour of Flanders. These are used in other events as well.
Yep.
He's lost the words.
No.
It's fabulous. He's fighting
It doesn't happen. No, I'm trying not to explode and say, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you've done previously.
Because you are on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, and this is it. Now,
it
100%. Is it indeed on the right-hand side of your screen. Category 2 are towards the top, now at 7.6 kilometres. Now, let's not remember, this is the first top, not the finish point of this segment, because this segment goes to the top of the first section. It drops down a little bit, it flattens off, it drops down a little bit into the valley, and then it kicks again before we get to the top of this Category 4 climb. Now, this climb, Matt, was first used in the Tour of Flanders in 1988.
So
I got
it's
stats
my
for
era.
you today.
Thank you very much. So this is my era, the Cortacura, first being used in the Flanders in 1988, back when we had down tube shifters. We were probably just about to hit STIs, brake gear levers combined. The clipless pedals were just coming into the peloton. You're talking those coming through from Look, predominantly a real sort of a turning point in technology. It would have been science fiction to dream that you could actually go out and ride these climbs on MyWhoosh in your garage, in your bedroom, in your pain cave, wherever that is, on a virtual platform. That would have been science fiction back in 1988, but we are here, we are on our way,
and
we are
category
about to hit
1
this.
are about to go underneath the polka dot banner, signifying the start of the climb. That's it. All of our race fields are up and on to these climbs in Flanders.
Okay, so Kortekeer, first climb here today. Now, this is ridden during the racing. Where, if you were riding this outdoors, what sort of pace do you need to go out to be competitive? Something like the sort of 35k an hour?
Well,
40k an hour?
The question is, Matt, is what are they going to do here? We've looked at this and we've got 17% on this first kicker. Now, this for me is absolutely crucial. So as we continue to watch these riders now pushing on, it's David Talbot coming towards the front again, and David Talbot pushing on. Vujasin is there as well, and Noren.
So here we go, they're on the climb, they're on part 1. The attacks are starting to come down, this bunch though coming in wholesale. So the riders on the way through, you can see making the way up this climb. This group is starting to fracture behind, but there are no dot-to-dots behind it. So let's see how they are moving on here. This is really, really key to the racing. This is where we get our first indication, but this is long. This is really, really, really long. They've got to make this count, but remember, this is two-part. This is almost 2 climbs.
Well, it is 2 climbs itself, because we've got the first longer section of the climb that these riders are on at the moment, and this has not got steep yet. This is still the foothills. 5.2% at the moment. It is going to kick, and it's going to kick at 17% maximum on the first section of this climb, before we then see the downhill run into the bottom before the final kicker that gets to the top of this category 4 effort.
So Johan Noren on the front, Vujasin second wheels, Nasca responding. 8.5 watts per kilo coming out of the riders. They're on this climb. It's Cutler right in the mix here. A man who we see normally on the attack, on the breakaway. He's putting this effort in now to stay with the leaders. And look at this. There is damage behind. This is so reminiscent of a Flanders Classic. Meanwhile, category 2 right hand side, they're going over the summit of this climb, led over the top by Graves. Mendicao, it's going through Mayer, Dawson, Spratt, Ace, Oya, Bjarhead. The hitmen are out in force. They're looking to make a killing at the moment. They're not able to do so because they have not smashed this completely, but it is breaking up. You can see the dot-to-dot behind our riders and on your screens on both of the satellite view on the left and on the right-hand side. Category 2 all over the road. We've seen a move by Graves. We've seen an attack, and he has taken the polka dot jersey. First rider over, first scoring points as he goes over the top.
It is indeed. So Graves from Yorkshire goes over in 1. Dawson from Ireland goes over in 2. Now, we said Chris Dawson could be a potential newbie right up at the front in this Category 2 race, and he's showing his form today.
So in Category 1, Noren, Vujasin, Cutler, Knudsen, Kaminski, Carradine in here, Theme on his way in as well. The riders are well and truly motoring 50 kph at the moment. They're on this slight descent, so basically up the first face of the onto the top, dropping down slightly here, but it will kick again. So slight platform, it levels, it then ascends again. So this really key. You've got to be in it to win it. You've got to be in with this group, but this group now reforming. Levels and a slight rise just coming into this leveling. This is the platform on the descent at the moment, and then it will go downhill again, and this change in rhythm really breaking the group up. If you look at the left hand side of your screen, the dot approaching the crossroads, going through it now, they are your race leaders here today. Behind, there are massive groups of riders. This has been shredded apart. It has been broken apart. It's worse than dropping your waffle on the floor and it breaking into crumbs. We are seeing a big destruction of the leading pack in Category 1. SS in here. So the team from the UAE clan, team, the riders from that team, all trying to keep in touch.
Well, I can't imagine the Belgian waffles would ever break a waffle up and drop it on the floor. They're not dropping anything today. They're in the pack here and they're moving on. Martin's right up towards the front with Cutler, Carradine, Safrazad, Zanaska, SS and Noren all in the bunch at the moment and moving fast.
Now we are going to hit the second part, part two of the climb. Look at it coming. Look at those feather flags going up the bank. This is what you want to see. You can see making its way up to the church at the top of the hill. The bank hits. The gradient increases. Watch those numbers, top right-hand side of your screen. 8%, 8.5, going up for 9. It's just going to keep going here. Over 11, over 12% now. And this is where we see who's feeling strong. This is doing damage. It is rolling at 11%. This is brutal.
And guess what? It's Johan Noren leading the charge at the front, a mountain biker in the race field in real life. So Noren, an elite mountain biker, leading the riders up this climb. The gradient is pegging off now, just 6.3% as we see them come towards. There's one more little kicker to go until the top.
And this little kicker could be the straw that breaks the camel's back, or in this case, the gradient that dispatches a rider off the back as we hit that steep section. Really interested to see the Belgian riders in there. Van Elst and Vujassin right up in the mix. This should suit them down to the ground. They should have practiced on this in real life. I'm sure they'll have ridden it. A real pilgrimage for riders, for bike riders everywhere to go ride on the amateur version, on the professional version. This kicker comes through, over the top they go. They're going to set a new fastest time by miles here today. The gradient continues past the banner slightly as they go over the top now. Now they're going to hit that descent down. So a long descent coming. The lead riders go over the top of the Kortekir, over the second part of that climb. And the riders now hitting the descent.
Well, as they hit the descent, you can take a look. It's Vujassin who sets the fastest time up that climb, 6 minutes 44 seconds. Kaminsky in 2, Zanaska theme X100 in there as well. Martin's SS Harris, Nair, Bjorkland and Bjorkland rounds out the top 10, but Safrazad is there, so is Noren, so is Lindblom, so is Van Elst, Carradine, Jones, Walter, Knudsen and Cutler. 19 riders in the Category 1 leading group.
So the riders on the way down. So big descent. This is about reinforcing the work that you've done on the climb here. So Knudsen pushing over the top, keeping the pace high, 6.5 watts per kilo. Joined by Vujassin, joined by Noren. Looks like Zanaska and SS make the catch now. So these riders are coming back together again, leading a group. We do have riders dropped off the back of this group though, and that is going to be very, very telling indeed. So all action from the word go. The Ghent City sprint done, the Kortekir climb done, onto the descent, and we drop down to the very bottom. We will be coming through to the Thyssen-Hovermolen, which is the Thyssen-Hovermolen sprint, and that is going to come up at 12.4k. Who's going to be in this group? Well, it's going to be a lot less than set off from the pens at the start of today's race.
Well, the leading pack in this Category 1 race all comfortably back together. I say comfortably, all back together again, tight as a group as they motor their way down this downhill section. You can just see at the moment we're in with Lionel Vujassin's heart rate dropping, getting some micro rest and micro recovery, or at least as much as he can on this descent at the moment. A little bit further down the race field, coming up for 15 kilometers. Well, that's on a Category 2 race field on the right hand side of your screen. We are in with Henrik Oikler at the moment, and that pack, well, that pack is large as well, Matt.
It is a big pack in there as well, but all 4 of our groups are pretty much holding a pack of riders. It's still a large group in comparison. So let's see who is going to continue onwards in our groups of 4. Is the category 3 riders now. They are at 19.4. Okay, they are approaching half race distance, and just as importantly, they're on the Valkenburg at the moment. So the Valkenburg, the next of the climbs, climb number 2, another climb that's used in Flanders.
Yeah, it is indeed. The Valkenburg climb is indeed used in Flanders. Well, let me put it this way. It was used in Flanders. In the Tour of Flanders, the Valkenburg climb was last used in 1996.
I can't remember who won in 1996.
Off the top of my head, no.
No. There's been a lot of editions, though, of Flanders, and they're all absolutely jam-packed full of action. Now, at the moment, the Category 1 riders approaching the Thistlehoven sprint. And Thistlehoven, in Dutch, is actually windmill. So the Molen is a windmill.
Well, I can tell you who won the Tour of Flanders. I have just utilised one of my...
Did they go past the windmill at Thistlehoven?
Oh, I don't know, but Bartoli won it in 6 hours, 27 minutes.
Oh, Michele, that was that Bartoli when he went clear and climbed on the final sprint?
Well, he won it by 55 seconds.
Yes, it was a great sprint.
But take a look at this. This is sprint times at the moment, and it's Category 2 going through this effort the fastest. So Category 2, Gonsolin, Dawson, Spratt, Mir, Oingler, Graves, Ospina, Volk going through this section the fastest.
Well, really interesting snapshot on the racing. We're going to be into our next climb underneath the multicolour MyWhoosh banner. This group at 13.2k. They have about 5k to the base of the next climb, the Valkenburg. And again, another push on now by Tim Cutler. Nobody's wanting to take any kind of rest. We've got a little bit of descent here. This is definitely testing our riders today. The continually rolling terrain really mixing it up. So as they drop down here, 13.5k covered, and these slight rollers are still being used by the riders to test out the rest of the group. As we can take a look out across the Ardennes here, just heading down away. Remember, this is an area heavily forested if you're out on the road, and some big forests as well as some very rolling terrain, and that reflected in here as we drop down in at the moment. A bit of a steep descent. This actually is really starting to wind up at 14k, so big descent, dropping down as they come through. In with Mr. X100, a rider who is working well.
Yeah, well, X100 is working well at the moment. Harris is here, Walters and Asker, Noren, Bjorklund is in here, and Limburn as well. So this is a really select group.
It is a select group, and I think this is one of those races, isn't it? If you don't make the selection, you're not in it. You're not in with a chance to win. But because of the parkour of this race, because we have so many climbs, so many selection points, you have to make selection once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, non-stop.
Well, it's like your finish line is at the top of every climb.
Yeah, and every bump and every roll into the descent, because I think the riders are in a... You get into this attacking mood. You get into this variability of racing. It's not like you... If you're on a steady gradient, you settle into a rhythm and you settle into a pace. And the riders, I think, almost back off the pace a little bit. And they take it a little bit more chilled. Whereas when it's constantly varying and it's going up, but it's going down all the time, they are then constantly trying to pick that pace up. And it puts them in that kind of... They've got to be on the attack all the time.
Well, our riders may well be on the attack all the time, but take a look at that. Leading every category at the moment is a good-sized group of riders. Now, we often talk about the strength and depth in each of these race fields, and we're talking about the numbers as well on the start line. Pretty much 50 riders in each of the 4 categories took to the start line today, but they are so well matched. Look at what we're seeing. We're seeing large groups leading each category.
So category 4 at the moment, the front is 3 riders. They've only got fractions of a second between them and the group behind.
Well, they're pushing on up this climb.
They are, and this is the climb at 24.5K.
This is the climb on the map, if you remember it, that comes before the Elkenberg climb, but is not classified as a segment.
So a non-segmented climb, but I mean, I would argue this is as tough as as pretty much as the Valkenberg. I think it's as nearly as tough as the Eichenberg, and it's arguably, I mean, it's definitely longer than the Paterberg.
Well, it's longer indeed, but we're seeing a bit of a push now at Category 2. They too now 18.6 kilometres. This is the Valkenberg for them, and you can see the cobbles. Look at that. And it's Dawson pushing at the front at the moment. So Dawson lighting up this Category 2 race and really putting the hammer down.
So Dawson from Wahoo Lacole on the front, being answered by Phil Graves. The ever-present Phil Graves wearing the polka dot skin suit, currently of the leader of those categorized climbs. 18.9K so far. This is for the points up at the top of the Valkenberg. The Valkenberg finishing at 19.6K. As you can see from the profile on the right-hand side, 2/3 of the way up this, and a big push over the top here as they're joined by Quintero as well. Nobody wants to let the gaps go. Nobody wants to let a wheel go. Nobody can afford to chase it back on. It is effort after effort after effort. At the moment, Category 2 on to the Valkenberg. Category number 1, well, they are on the run in at the moment. They are currently at 17 kilometers nearly. Going to tick over that 17K mark at any second, and that means that they are going to be chasing. They've still got time and distance between them and Category 2, but Category 1 are definitely motoring at pace.
Yeah, well, motoring at pace is exactly what they're doing. And look at the distance these have already moved at the moment. So 31 minutes on the clock for Category 2. They're just shy of 20 kilometres into this race. And they've been racing through Flanders. So Dawson now pushing on, coming to the top, just over the top of our second climb segment, the Valkenberg climb. This is the racing pack in Category 2, and look at that. It's continuing to push on. Small gap, but very quickly closed down by Cam Winfield.
And Dawson pulling on the polka dot skin suit now. It being taken off the shoulders of Phil Graves, going across to Chris Dawson, who's accumulated the most points in the competition overall for Dawson here. So at the moment, as they go along, this is your leading group in Category number 2. 4 categories out on the road. 4, 3, 2, and 1, all separated, all with their own prize fund as well. And just as importantly, all racing against very close competition. Now, Category 4, this was a big pack last we saw. It's been blown apart. Emma, 26.4K. That means that they are currently on the descent, but you can see top right, the next climb coming, that's the Eichenberg.
Well, 24 riders in that group as they went into that climb. 7 riders coming out at the front. They are indeed about to go into the next climb of the day, which is indeed the Eichenberg. It's, 1.6 kilometres with an average gradient of 4.3%. 40 times it has been used in the Tour of Flanders between 1956 and 2015.
So that is 40 times it's been used.
It has last used in 2015.
And this is one of the things that we can do on esports. We can race on climbs that are no longer suitable for professional races.
So it's an absolute classic. 40 times it was included.
An absolute classic, and it has been a classic. But climbs change out on the roads. Sometimes that's about the access. Sometimes that could be about street furniture that's put in. Sometimes it can just be about getting the convoy up there. Or people, I mean, we see it time and time again, following cars running over riders who fall off on the climbs in the Flanders. Well, you're not going to have that problem on esports. There's no following car to flatten you coming behind, but you do have the pack.
I have known people who have fallen off their turbo trainer whilst racing hard. And this is not going to happen for these guys today because this is category 1. They're still on the Valkenburg, and it is absolutely pushing at the moment. So just shy of 5%. This pack, like they're riding on a flat road. So just at the moment, it's getting a little steeper, but the pack moving at 34 kilometers an hour uphill.
Yep, serious pace on. Remember, this is 1.3k in total, so it is a not sprintable effort, but it's definitely one that can be done as one effort, one really strong effort. At the moment, though, I suspect there's more power to come now. Knudsen goes and hits 9 watts per kilo as he moves his way down the right-hand side, taking to the gutter. He takes to the lead. Cutler quickly responds. Mistakes 100 does the same. You can see SS just going into the red as well. They all want to be on the wheels, and the top of the climb is when you've got to use that power. Accelerate up over the top, accelerate really hard now, and you could distance people. Any gaps that open as you go over the top of the climb will be accentuated as you drop down into the descent, and that is why you can see they're ramping it up here. The power still sitting at over 7 watts per kilo for the majority of the riders who are on the front of this group. Now 19.5, here comes the polka dot banner with the UCI central to it. This is going to be the top of the climb. The top of the Valkenburg is done. The riders level out over the top here, and let's see if anybody attacks over the top, or are they going to let each other draw breath?
Well, can I just say I have the results of the climb in front of me, and it is a fantastic effort pushing through, because take a look at that. So Stefan van Elst setting the fastest time up there, 2 minutes 18. Vujasin, Lindborn, Kaminski, SS, Bjorklund, Carradine, Cutler, and the 9th spot is X100. Now, Chris Dawson was the fastest rider from category 2, followed by Nicholas Spratt. They are currently sitting in 15th and 16th position on the fastest times up that climb.
So over the top they go, time to recover. Mistakes 100 just being dropped off the back of that group. I think caught by a little bit of an attack off the front that's caused everybody else to chase. My understanding, I think there was 2 or 3 riders just starting to go clear there at the front. It's Knudsen and Zanaska who are right up at the front as they continue to push over the top and into the descent. And it could well be that it's Knudsen's teammates who was caught out there in Mistakes 100, but it looks like he's got back onto the back of this group. So over the top they go into the descent. The speed will build very quickly indeed as they come off this. It's then flat along the bottom before we go on into the uncategorized climb. Whew. Packed, full of action. Is it living up to your expectations so far,
Emma?
It is
indeed. 18 riders currently in this leading group in this category 1 pack. We've got 1 category 2 rider just sitting in there as well at the moment. So it is indeed. Now, let me just give you the information that 53 riders took to the start sheets today in this category 1 race. 18 left, and we are 21 kilometers into this race. And it's not all about the category 1 riders, because the racing is strong in all 4 categories on the right-hand side of your screen. This is the category 4 race. They're coming up for 29 kilometers into this race. They are coming up to the top of the Eichenberg climb. This is the polka dot banner signifying the end of that climb. Dadson is there, McMurtry is there, Francis is there, Carvajal is there, Alvarez is there, Montoya, Londono. This is still a big pack.
It's a big pack with Londono taking the points at Jersey now in category 4. They are approaching the 30-kilometer marker, so that will be 2/3 race distance. Allport on the front over the top and into the descent. Dadson second, then McMurtry with Alvarez rotating with him, just not wanting to let those gaps go. That's category 4 in red, category 2 in green. Working their way along here, and now on to the climb. They're at 24.5k, and that means that they are still some way off the Eichenberg climb, but currently going into this, the uncategorized climb beforehand. And as we said, this worthy almost of being a berg in its own right. But this is very typical, isn't it, of a Flanders race? That, let's say on the race of, in Flanders, you know, it's 200 odd K. It's got 30 climbs on it that are categorized, 22 climbs that are categorized, 23 climbs that are categorized. But actually, there's probably 40 climbs on there.
Well, there probably is, but it's a flat section at the moment that Knudsen and Vujassin are using here to push on. I just had to do a double check there. So Knudsen and Vujassin, the two riders pushing away. Cutler and Kaminsky are the riders trying to close the gap. Nair is also coming across.
So the flat section is on its way. Let's see whether this group can make contact. So here we go. This is the chasing group. They've not managed to pull them back just yet here, Emma. And this chasing pack, they won't want to go too hard too soon, will they? Because if you, I mean, there's so many efforts required here to chase down riders, to attack, to bring people back. If you put too much in too early, you're surely in danger. I mean, we're just over half race distance.
Well, they might not want to pull them back too soon, but it really is just a bit of a line here at the moment. So they haven't really established a breakaway. They have just pushed the pace up at the front. The back still attached just.
So here we go. The riders at the front of this group going underneath the multicolour banner. They're going to be making their way in to that uncategorised climb as they go up and over. That's the one without the red section on that course profile as they come through, just in with Wang Guarin, who's tucked in nicely with this group. It's got Said Safrazan for company.
18 riders in this leading group still as they sweep around that left-hand bend. They are moving now towards the next set of climbs, and this, I think, is where it's going to really get interesting as we move towards the latter half of this race.
So the climb's getting tougher and tougher, even though they're not necessarily getting longer, higher or steeper as the
I think they're going to get steeper.
Well, it's the fatigue is going to accumulate on the way through, and it doesn't matter what that climb is, it's always going to hurt more at the back of the race. That's why you can see the same climb, category 4 at the start and a category 2 at the end of the race when you're doing laps, because of the damage that is done. Now category 1, Knudsen and Nair again really pushing at the moment here. They have got a bit of a gap on the riders, but it's not enough to break clear at the moment. Vujassin closing that down. Zanaska and SS a little bit further behind here as they start to string this out. And this says to me that they've either been watching the racing previously, they've seen that this is a chance to attack, or they know the course profile inside out, or of course they've been out and ridden on this route, out on the worlds in MyWhoosh, out on the Belgian worlds, and out on this course.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, it's brilliant fun. I mean, a great race route, really provoking some aggressive racing. I think we're going to see riders with some massive, massive numbers at the end of this. There's going to be a lot of people feeling this for a long time.
Well, the question is, who's going to blow in the final stages? Yeah. Let's just remember, in the last 8.5 kilometres, we have a category 4 climb, a descent. We then have the Patenberg. We then have a short flat run. Then we've got another climb to the finish.
Yep, another uncategorized. It's almost the second part of the Patenberg.
It is.
It's not actually part of it. It's not if you out and ride it as a climb outside. However, it feels like it because it's not now, all that long in between.
The Patenberg is interesting, isn't it? Because it was indeed built by a farmer.
It was indeed. I'll tell you what, let's take a look at the course profile whilst we get a chance to breathe for a second. And let's run through this second half. So Emma's saying it's critical what happens in this second half, and I agree entirely. We've just seen Category 1 go over the bump in the middle, which hasn't got any red on it. So we've got the Eichenberg, Quermont, and the Paterberg. We've seen riders go over the Eichenberg. What have we got in store? Quermont and Paterberg, Emma?
We do indeed. So the Quermont, the longest cobbled climb in the Tour of Flanders.
Okay.
There you go. That's for you. That is a Category 4 climb, so 2.2 kilometres, average gradient of 4.2%. But as you can see, that is much, much steeper because we've got two main climbs there. We've got a big push, we've got a flat, and then we've got another push to the top. The riders will then descend off of the Quermont climb to the Paterberg, and that is an absolute wall. That is so steep and obviously cobbled in real life. We mentioned very briefly it was built by a farmer in the 1980s because he didn't have a climb that he could watch outside his house in the Tour of Flanders. Well, the Paterberg is it, a flat top and then another kick to the finish line at 45 kilometres today.
So it's quite a long way from our final climb
It is.
to the final categorised or final indicated climb here in the Paterberg. However, it's not flat, and there is that climb to that 1.7k.
Yeah.
And it was a farm track, wasn't it, initially? I mean, I would love to be in the position of putting cobbles down on a climb. I mean, the maximum gradient on there, I think, it's something around about 11-12% on that section. It's super steep. It's super, super tough. It's short, though. It's 400 metres. It's going to be, for me, decisive. Surely somebody's going to try and go on the Paterberg if they haven't gone already.
I don't think anyone today is going to top Sam Gaze's 45 seconds and 933 watts up there. 933 watts from Sam Gaze, 45 seconds up the Paterberg.
Right, if you beat that, tell us. Get in touch with Emirates at Biking Emma. You can get in touch with me. It's at Mount Fix Pain, whatever category you're in. And it's possible that riders are going to do that. I mean, to be honest, if it was me and somebody had thrown that challenge, I'd be poodling my way around, enjoying the scenery, and then sprint like a lunatic for 400 metres.
Well, I don't know about
Not going to happen.
But Matt, you did say these types of climbs could suit a mountain biker. Sam Gaze, one of my personal favourite mountain bikers in the men's mountain bike peloton at the moment.
Yeah, a rider who we have seen take victory after victory on the short track, which is basically
World Championships,
20-minute racing, where you've got to basically be able to sprint like an absolute lunatic up and downhill and recover in between.
Yeah.
So let's see who's going to take this. We're in with Category 4. They just go off our screen as we drop across through Category 1 to Category 2.
Oh, it's a big push coming from Chris Dawson at the moment. Yet again, coming to the top of the climb. This is the Eichenberg, and Dawson is the one taking it to Graves again. These two are absolutely side by side pushing this race field along.
They are. Quintero has looked dangerous. Mendekovitz as well. Peter Volk right in touch. Spratt and Gates at the moment. Mark Gates just looking a little bit in trouble here. Is this where we see the split go? Is this where the gaps form? There is approaching about 10-11 seconds at the moment between the top of 4 and the chasing group in Category 2. That is on the right of your screen. Left-hand side of your screen is Category 1. They are at the base of the self-same climb of the Eichenberg here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club Qualifier Race number 2. So Categories 1 and 2 basically going over the same berg out in Flanders. Category 2 descending, Category 1 on the ascent. Now, let's see who's going to attack.
Well, I'll tell you something. This Category 1 race field are only 1.3 kilometres behind the Category 2 race field. They are absolutely motoring at the moment, and they are shedding riders constantly. So Zanaska and X100, Vujasin and Noren all towards the front of this group. So is Cutler, so is Martins. Kaminsky and Nair are here as well, and so is Lindbun. You know, this is still a big group.
It is a big group, but it is whittling down, isn't it? I mean,
very slowly.
You know, we haven't said that for a while. We haven't said the word whittling for ages. So it is whittling down. These little bits of chunks taken off the side, but what's it going to create? Is it going to create a solo rider? Is it going to be a breakaway? this should suit a number of riders who previously have maybe not found their ideal course when they've been racing. There's no one course that's ideal for everybody, or in fact, it's very rare you actually find the ideal course for anybody because there's always other riders making it tough. And at the moment, Kaminsky is the rider on the front who's put the hammer down. He's started to stretch this out. SS responds to this. He's in second place.
We said Kaminsky was going to be strong today. We said it
Good
was
call.
his type of parkour, you know, and absolutely pushing on strongly. So Kaminsky leading this out. SS coming alongside in that blue cap and those blue shoes. You know, he's absolutely marking everybody at the moment, and Kaminsky is the man he's marking. Cutler is there as well, continuing to push on and just stretching this group a little as they're coming towards the top of the berg.
And Michael Knudsen stayed in here. Now, we know that Michael Knudsen, when he goes to a big, long climb, is going to be able to nail it. He's off the back of a really, really huge week, isn't he? 30-plus hours of training this week, but it's been in the Alps. So he has got lots of climbing in his legs. I think it's going to be really
Alpine
interesting to
passes
see.
versus Belgian bergs.
Yeah, but you know when you go up an Alpine pass and there's the hairpin corners, often they are super steep in the kick, and then it flattens a little bit and it kicks again. It'll be really interesting to see how he responds to that week's training, because different riders respond differently. Wow. At the moment, he's 8th place as he comes in through over the Eichenberg climb. He's in the running, isn't he? 0.52 of a second off the pace of Lionel Vujassin. Interestingly, Belgian rider leading over the top of the Eichenberg climb. Doing a Wout van Aert maybe instead of a Vink.
Well, you never know, but it's indeed Vujassin, SS, Cutler, Safrazad, Kaminsky, Noren, Martins and Knudsen. The top 8, just 0.5 of a second separating those top 8 riders over that segment.
So Vujassin's the rider we are riding in with at the moment. Lionel Vujassin, of course, a great eSports rider, a rider who we know is incredibly strong, and may well be thinking that today is the course to parkour to suit him. Lionel Vujassin with that white skin suit with the red polka dots on. This group are not easing off as they hit the flat section at the bottom. Again, we're seeing another push through this coming through. I think that was Mr. X100 actually, who has rolled through at speed and I think has gone on to the very front. We're just going to take a little bit of a check here because these riders are rolling around together. Yep, Mr. X100 is just up with Albert Primero just in front. This could be a really interesting move here because we know that Mr. X100 is a rider who's incredibly strong. He's a rider who likes to be able to chase on. And you wouldn't expect him necessarily to put the kicks in, would you?
This is a big flat section. You know, if the UAE clan team now want to break this group and break this group down even more, you know, this is a great tactic. You put X100 out front on this long flat section between these two bergs. And, well, everyone's got a chase. People would be thinking this is the recovery section. This is not the recovery section for the UAE clan team. This is the section where the UAE clan team attack everybody else.
So look like Knudsen coming across with with Lionel adjusting to Mr. X100. I mean, Knudsen came across there at 10 watts per kilo. That is big numbers to be putting out at 31k of a 45k race, but he's still holding 7.5 watts per kilo. So Nasca now responding, seeing 12 watts per kilo coming out from Lucas Nasca. Again, it's also about maximum power as well. It's outright pure watts as well as power to weight, particularly on this flatter section at the moment. It's a slight downhill, but basically flat on its way through. Remember, we are at 31.5k, and coming up is one of the longer, flatter sections. We come back in through the city as we make our way back out towards the Quermont climb, the Haut de Quermont, followed by the Patenberg. The two final climbs of the day. The Quermont has a category 4 categorization on it, and the Quermont basically one of the climbs that goes up the Kleesberg.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Quermont climb, phenomenal, really. So 2.2 kilometres, as you meant. Tadej Pogacar, 3 minutes, 55 seconds.
Tadej Pogacar.
3 minutes 55 seconds up the Quermont in real life, an average speed of 31.4 kilometers per hour.
Ooh.
Now that is absolutely shifting it.
So 31.4k. I'd be quite happy to average that on the flat, to be honest, for a flat ride or even a rolling ride.
I'd be
but
quite
to
happy
do it
to
up
be
there.
Well, to be 14 seconds slower, you can be with the likes of Van der Poel and Van Aert.
Oh, okay.
You know, they are 14 seconds slower. Matthew Van der Poel had a power meter on, and the power meter results are there. 522 watts average.
He's a big guy, isn't he?
He is, and an absolute powerhouse. Now, if you are a powerhouse like Mark Dadson, you're going to be leading this Category 4 race. He's shown us how well he can climb recently and been absolutely making the action in this Category 4 race, but he's got company. 5 riders in the front group, the chasing group just 8 seconds back. They are not out of contention yet, as Dadson, Montoya, Carvajal, Castano and Valles are the 5 riders clear at the front of the race today.
And they are now hitting the second part of the Eau de Quermont. So you go up the first steep section, it levels, they've done that. They're now on to the steeper section. The second part of it is not quite as steep as part 1, but this then goes over what is almost a knife edge top. Not as knife edge as something like the Wollongong climb in Australia, but still enough to split the groups as they go over. Remember, this is the penultimate climb. This is the second to last of our climbs that are indicated in red on the profile. The Patenberg, of course, not the final climb of the day, although it is the last of our indicated climbs because we've got an uphill run into the finish. But these riders in Category 4 still leading the race on the road. Montoya, Castano, Velas, Dadson, Clear with Carvajal of Alvarez, McMurtry and Francis. That gap at the moment, it's hovering around about the 8 to 10 seconds marker for the chasers behind. And as these riders come up to the summit, they can see that polka dot banner. This is going to be a key in the allocation of the polka dot jersey. I suspect that Castano Acevedo is going to take the fastest time up there as he goes through. He's got the polka dot jersey just on his shoulders at the moment, and that means he has the accumulated total. He's the fastest rider so far in Category 4 across the climbs. So the polka dot jersey on Phil Graves' shoulder in Category 2. Category 2 currently at 35.3k. They're on the way to the base of the Eau de Quermont, the Quermont climb here in MyWhoosh.
Look at that. Now it's down to 4 riders in this Category 2 race. Dawson, Quintero, Vanowecki and Graves really pushing on here as they continue to work. The gap's now 35 seconds back to the chase group. I think these 4 are now clear.
I can't see the rest coming. If you've been distances for a reason on this course, you know, there's so many trigger points, and that makes a difference. Now, Knudsen on the attack. He's chosen his moment when they go through the riders in Category 2. He can take assistance from them, even though this is a flatter section. A great point to go away, because if you can attack, and he is just rolling around there with Filippo Quadrelli, who knows a good wheel when he sees it. He knows that this is a chance to help put some distance in. Really interesting move here. So at the moment, Knudsen and Quadrelli, 2 of the stars of the MyWhoosh Championship, pushing on here. Knudsen's gap behind him, Emma. It's not enough yet, but this could be pretty damaging stuff.
Well, he's about to come up to 10 kilometres to go in the Sunday Race Club today in Belgium. They are out and about as Knudsen comes onto the back of this Category 2 group, but the rest of the Category 1 pack, well, 3 seconds back. And what's separating Knudsen from them at the moment is the fact that all of everybody is mixed together, and in that we have an attack from Zanaska. So Zanaska has pushed on, and you see, we've always said it creates confusion in the pack when you come up against other groups, and that's exactly what is happening here. So Knudsen is clear, 4 seconds clear of Zanaska. Zanaska is the chasing rider. The rest of the pack, around 4 seconds back. Noren leading that with Nair and Vujasin, but it is indeed the push on that is coming up front.
And we're not seeing, this is not a concerted chase, is it? We're not seeing the group, and that I think is why Zanaska's gone down the road after Knudsen. Knudsen's gone.
Well, we know Knudsen can climb really well as well.
He can. Vujasin's gone. These guys, though, are thinking, hang on a minute, we've got a nice group, we've got assistance from these Category 2 riders. We've got a little bit of time. We're about to hit the biggest climb. You can give away a few seconds, but I'm not sure that's correct.
I'm not sure you can. I am not sure you can give away any seconds to Michael Knudsen, particularly when there's a lot of climbing in the last 9 kilometres of racing. Whether that is one continual climb or 2 or 3 smaller climbs, you are really playing a dangerous game if you let him go down the road.
16 seconds at the moment to Knudsen. It's currently going to be about 12 seconds or so, I think, to Zanaska as they work their way through it, just yo-yoing its way up and down at the moment as the terrain changes. Remember, these are done on live computations of the speeds and distances at the moment as they make their way through. Now in with Michael Kaminsky, and you can just see Kaminsky was hovering in that bunch, but SS on at the front of this group with Vujasin, and you can see this is what is left of that chasing group. Snaska currently at 11 seconds up the road, and we've got Knudsen now at 14. So they're pegging them as they come in to the start of the Quermont climb. Will they be able to close down our 2 leaders on this, the penultimate of our indicated climbs here on the Flanders Day, the first of our trips to Belgium on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club? The chasing pack, they're on the lower slopes. They've got Zanaska and Knudsen ascending in front. Now is the time to play your cards. They can't wait any longer. You can't bluff this out. They've got to get after this man, Zanaska, and get after the man in front, and that's Michael Knudsen.
Well, Zanaska needs to stop looking behind and start looking in front, because Knudsen is 3 seconds in front of him. If the Avatar turns his head, he'll see the wheel. He should be chasing. He should be less worried about SS behind, but actually SS is pushing. Vujasin is too. The gap is now 9 seconds behind Zanaska, which means it's 11 seconds from Knudsen to the chasers.
And we talk about riders who've moved up through groups really well. I mean, Quadrelli up into Group 2, he is working fantastically. He's not all that far off the pace. Keep seeing him hovering around here. He's a Category 2 rider who's just about holding the pace of this category. He's got to be very close. Even though he's not in the lead, he's using the packs wisely. Now, using the draft could be key here. Zanaska and Knudsen at the moment, as you say, Emma, 9 seconds or so clear. We're coming to the top of part 1 of this climb. It levels a little and then it goes into part 2. But if they can get a gap over the top, we don't have far to go, do we? We're inside what? It's going to be what, 7.5k to go now.
Yeah, it is by the time they get to the top. And I tell you what, Zanaska is catching Knudsen, but the rest are coming as well. The gap is closing, and I tell you what, they have worked hard on this climb to close that gap down, because it was around 15 seconds at the start of the climb. And Knudsen and Zanaska, I think, are going to be caught by Noren and Kaminsky. Vujasin is a further 2 seconds back, and I tell you something, Johan Noren has been climbing really well today.
Yeah, that as we said early on, mountain bikers and this type of terrain go well hand in hand, and that is definitely what's happening here with Noren, although he has obviously been on this platform a while now, hasn't he? And he's a rider who we saw last week. He was so hovering close to the race win. Meanwhile, we're going to go back to our race leaders on the road, and they are our Category 4 riders. They're the riders who are furthest down the road overall. They are currently at 43.1k. They're coming to the top of the Patenberg at the moment. So this, the top of the Patenberg. This is the top of the final banner on our indicated climbs. This is the final chance for points in that polka dot competition. They are going to make their way in underneath, and you can just see a little bit of a squeeze there from Acevedo, not wanting to get distance to go up through. So through the top of the Patenberg climb come the leaders on the road in Category 4. Vélez, Montoya, Castana, Acevedo going in through. Carvajal is in that mix. as is Montoya. This is a real class group of 5 riders. And do you know what? It's going to come down, I think, Emma, to who can climb that last little drag up to the finish the fastest. These riders have 1.5k to go. And it's almost equidistance, isn't it, in terms of flat and then climb?
Yeah, it is indeed. So a flat run here, and then you can see on the top right-hand corner of your screen, that is the climb where the finish line is on the top. It's just short, it's just sharp, but do you know what, Matt? I think it's enough for a winning kick.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's a great distance coming up through to the finish, and the riders on the way in to the next climbing category 1 as well. They're at 38.7 k, so they're coming up to the top of the climb of the Quermont. This is Vujasing Kaminsky. It's Knudsen, and they've picked up Oya as well in this group. So they're picking up category 2 riders all the way through. But these are the leaders. They are on the way over the top in category 1. These are your times: SS, Kaminsky, Vujasing, Norin, Zanaska, and Knudsen. 6 riders from category 1 through. Little bit further back, you can see the distance there. Safrazada Cutler and Mistakes 100 coming onto our screens as we watch these results live. That means that they are following a few seconds behind. They are distanced in the race at the moment. That is going to be critical. So category 1 on the descent. Category 4, well, they can't be far from the finish, Emma. And this run is going to be key. Here they are. Wow.
They're not far from the finish at all. About 650 meters is where they are at. And I'll tell you something, it is coming up to that final climb of the day. Dadson is in here, Castano is in here, Velez, Carvajal, Montoya is in here. Dadson getting distance, but putting a kick in now to close the gap. He is coming back onto the wheel as we're in with Velez. This is so close at the moment.
So the run into the finish, 500 meters to go. Montoya over the top, then being chased down by Castano Acevedo in that polka dot jersey. Then behind him, you can see Carvajal coming, and it's another push now by Montoya. We're in to the last 400 meters. It's soon to be 300 meters. It's going to start leveling out a little bit as you come in to the castle at the top.
Well, Montoya's pushed early. Castano is going after him, so is Carvajal. Velez now, I think, is out of it, and so is Dadson. I think this is 3 riders as Montoya is the rider pushing. Castano isn't going to make it. Montoya, I think, is going to take the win. Montoya takes the win on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club for the first race in Belgium.
What a race. Montoya, Acevedo and Carvajal coming in through the line there. They distanced Velez, they distanced Dadson out on the way through. What a race, what a ride, what a fantastic trip into Belgium for the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Mark Dadson, after being in the action all the way through distance, I think I think that's a blown rider if I've ever seen one. Mark, get some recovery done, buddy, because you're going to need it. I think we're going to be back in Belgium pretty soon. What a ride there. Top 5 by Mark Dadson. 5 riders breaking away. Brilliant race there in category 4. Now, category 3 on the way in, Andrew Neville Ross. We've not seen very much of these guys during the racing.
Look how close they are on that bottom left. It's one long line of category 3 riders. At my last check, there were 23 riders still in the group, and that is what you can see on the screen. Hung out.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's going to be. Anyone's going to be dry.
Hung out to dry, I think, is the term we should use.
I don't know. I think there's going to be some very hot and sweaty riders at the end. There,
Neville
really
Ross
hot.
is rolling it there. Look at the push on that.
It's hot in Belgium. It's hot on the pace at the moment. Neville Ross leading from Gates, from Nogueira, from Scretti, from Cadiz. But this is anybody's. It's Neville Ross's to lose. He's on the right-hand side of his screen. Meanwhile, coming in to the final climb, approaching the Paterberg, is the leading group in category 1 on the left of your screen. So lots of action here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club for qualifier number 2. The first trip to Belgium, the first of our Flanders Classics. We had our very own Flanders Classic here in the village where the studio is, out on the roads of the Charente, mimicking the racing on the Tour of Flanders. And you know what? The esports version here on MyWhoosh, well, it's got incredible action. Neville Ross still holding on at the front. Surely this is his to lose now, Emma.
Well, I'm looking at that thinking he's got around 15 seconds at the moment, and it's a big chase group behind. Can he hold it? But I tell you something, Matt, is coming down. That flat section has benefited the group, not the lone leader. So Neville Ross now on the final climb. This climb is going to hit around 7% before it backs off and gets to the flat run into the finish. So Neville Ross leading the race. Gates kicks now at 10 watts per kilo. Diduch and Stretting are there as well. The gap is now coming back. Neville Ross is going to be caught.
Oh, Neville Ross caught that classic coming into the finish, going just too early. Heartbreak for Neville Ross. He's got to respond to this, but he's got to respond to Tom Gates. Tom Gates, a regular. You'll be able to see this on YouTube. You'll be able to see the pain written all over his face. Gates has gone. It's not all over behind, but time is running out on those cobbled approaches to the castle gates here. He's going to storm the walls. Is he going to kick past the portcullis? He does. He's on to the run for the gantry. This is Tom Gates taking away race victory in Category 3 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club qualifier number 2.
Well, Gates comes over the line. Stretting is going to take it from Diduch. Second and third in that Category 3 race. It is absolutely eyeballs out for all of our categories as we watch Noguera and Londono coming across the line. We drop back in with Category 2. Quintero's got Graves on his wheels. It's looking like a 4-man breakaway with a 26-second gap back to the chasing group.
So 4 riders up on the front. Can they equal Gates' kick in there? Really looking forward to seeing
it. Shows you it's not
back.
all over going into that final climb. You have not got to assume if you get to that last section first, you are going to win. As we see on the left-hand side of your screen, Zanaska going through what is the polka dot banner of the Pattenberg, and along with those rest of those yellow jerseys.
So he will lead through, Zanaska led through with the chase on behind. So this is going to come thick and fast. First of all, it's going to be our Category 2 riders on the right of your screen in green coming into the finish. Then it's going to be our Category 1 chasing harder behind. Fantastic finishes from everybody so far. So 1K to go for Category 2. It is currently going to be a 1.3K to go for Category 1. Knudsen now on the move. He's looking to go into this final kicker. First, he's got a little bit of a gap on Zanaska. Zanaska's having to respond here, and this is dangerous. Knudsen has gone hard here on the left of your screens. He's got a gap. You can see Zanaska. He went into the red. He went down to yellow. He's dropped back out again. This is going to be so tight. It's going to be very quick between our two finishes. We'll try and bring you everybody over the line. Going to be a tough one here today as Zanaska goes over the top of Knudsen on the left of our screens. Vujasin is not out of this. If Vujasin could take this, that would be a Belgian home win, but he's got some serious work to do. But time is an option at the moment. It's possible because we've still got this last kick into the finish here. So 500 meters for Category 1. Category 2 just on their final run in towards the line. Absolutely frantic here today.
Yeah, it is indeed. With these two categories, everyone is coming together in these last 400 meters. Is it going to be Category 2? Is it going to be Category 1? Knudsen, Zanaska, Vujasin are fighting it here. We've got 3 riders at the front of this Category 1 race. They are absolutely motoring. We've got 4 riders at the front of the Category 4 race. Chris Dawson is going to come and take it for the Category 2 race. That is Dawson coming through first. First Sunday Race Club, first win, first race in Belgium.
Fantastic first win for Dawson, and this is the run for the line here. Is it going to be Vujasin? Is it going to be Knudsen? We're in Belgium, and the Belgian's going to take second place. Knudsen takes the win here today. A two-up sprint for the final run to the line in Category 1. What a finish, and I'll tell you something. Lionel Vujasin will have a face on him on the podium like Wout van Aert when he's beaten by Matthew van der Poel. I really look forward to seeing these riders coming back to Belgium for a rerun of this.
That was so good. And now we're seeing the riders in the leading pack. That had been a large group of Category 1 riders coming in. Safrazad is in, Nair is in, Kaminsky is in. Kaminsky rode a strong race to finish 4th. And we said Johan Noren was going well, coming across the line in 5th.
So it's Knudsen in 1, Vujasin in 2, Zanaska in 3, Kaminsky in 4, Noren in 5, Nair in 6, Safrazad in 7, Tim Cutler in 8th, top and 9, rounded out by Mr. X100. What a race. Average was per kilo blown all the way all over the place because of the power. Emma, has it lived up to expectations coming to Belgium?
Well, Vujasin lost that by 0.1 of a second. It was phenomenal racing in all 4 categories. I have been on the edge of my seat. Fabulous, fabulous race.
Fabulous race. An absolute pleasure to put words to the action here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Qualifier race number 2. Another qualifier coming up next week. Myself, Matt Payne, and of course Emma Martin will be here bringing you all of the race action. Please do get in touch with us. Emma always wants to see the pain gauge. She wants to know what you've been doing training, and I want to know what you've been racing. Please do get in touch with us. Don't forget you can get in touch with MyWhoosh as well. Always great to see your posts on the MyWhoosh feeds with all of the various stories. But what racing? Great racing in the women's race earlier on today. Make sure you have a watch of that if you haven't already. Thank you for watching the men's race. We will be back next week with the rest of the team who bring you all of the action and all of the pictures behind the scenes. So from everybody who makes it happen and from Emma and myself here in the commentary box, enjoy yourselves. We're going to go have waffles and maybe a little bit of gelato on the side just to keep us in the mood from our Belgian race. In the meantime, enjoy your racing. We will see you again soon. Stay safe.
Goodbye.